Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear respected brothers and sisters. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep you well. And subhanallah, isn't it amazing how already 2 days from Ramadan have gone? That's so sad, isn't it? Subhanallah, it's so quickly. We've just entered this month and now it's just running very quickly. And that's why it makes it all important that we do try to make the best of this month. And this reminder today that I would like to give you is about how we change for the better, because every individual has a capacity and you are that individual who has the capacity to become better in any ways that you can think, subhanallah. And if you look at yourself, and I think this is something that I hope that you can take away from this reminder today, is to say, how can I, if I reflect on myself as an individual and almost look at someone else who is you, but say, how is this other person, how can I make him a better self? What is the better version, if you like, of yourself? And I mean, this is an individual practice. I mean, we could have an ideal kind of scenario, an ideal person who has all the top qualities, everything, but that's not what we're talking about here, because we're not talking about you becoming the idealistic, maybe also unrealistic person, but we're talking about how can you become that better person. And every one of us has strengths, has weaknesses, and the key is for you to really reflect. And this is why Ramadan has to be the opportunity. When you're depriving yourself of food, it's designed to make you a little bit more clearer in the head, so that you can think as an individual, how can I, El-Hamdoon, how does my better version of myself look like in terms of my knowledge, in terms of my ibadah, in terms of my practices, in terms of my akhlaq, in terms of my morals, in terms of my emotions, in terms, and so on. You could list so many things of how you can be a better person, but you need to do that, because the part of changing is important to have a process in place. And when we talk about upgrading to your better self, it means that you have to think about, how do I go through a process of change? And subhanallah, sometimes we have to actually stop and think and say, okay, I need to, I'm here, point A, I need to get to point B. What is involved in this process? And I like to give an example here, which I mentioned to some of our brothers and sisters who are listening on the WhatsApp, and that is the example of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us, and subhanAllah, every creature of Allah, there is examples for us to look at. If you look at the example of the caterpillar, how Allah has made the caterpillar in a way it is, it's really, subhanAllah, it's a very amazing creature. This caterpillar, when you look at it, it's an animal which has so many legs, tens of legs. It has there's no apparent wings to this creature. It is a creature that just is ultimately eat as much as you can kind of animal. It's just always eating. And I think some of these biological documentaries will tell us that the caterpillar eats, I don't know, 4 times or 10 times its weight in every day, because it's always just increasing. A caterpillar is very much that creature that is roaming the ground, and it is attached and eating and drinking and getting bigger and bigger. But for the caterpillar to change, for the caterpillar to upgrade, for the caterpillar to be the better self, if you like, it means that caterpillar has to go through a process, and that process is a very hard process. It's a process of deprivation, it's a process of reflection, it's a process of contemplation, seeing how can I change to become the better version of myself. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and you have to make that choice as well. A lot of people, and I mean 90, maybe 95% of people are happy with the status quo. They're happy as they are. They can't see, because change is hard, it's difficult. You want to lose weight, you want to have a better physique. It's hard, it needs extra work. You have to look at what you eat, you look at your training regime, etc. You want to educate yourself. It's process. How many times have people come to me and said to me, brother, we want to learn Arabic, can you teach us Arabic? And I say, yeah, fine, let's do that. And they come for the first lesson, come for the second lesson, but then third lesson, fourth, fifth, then gradually they just start to disappear from the lessons, because they think that learning a new skill, learning a new language, learning Quran, learning Hadith, understanding the Deen is something that just comes like that. No, change has to be, by the very nature of change, it will be a hard process. It will be a process that needs you to put effort. And Ramadan is designed to gear you up to that kind of process. That process where you are reflecting within yourself and saying, yes, I do want to be a better person, and I have that time to think about all the bad habits that you have that you want to throw aside. Do you think bad habits is, we know that, in fact, and I'm sure you can answer it. Bad habits, you can't just shed them aside. It's very hard. Those people who, especially people who smoke, for example, or have some sort of addiction, you can ask them. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not something, it's not a switch on and off, where you want to be not just give up the bad things, but the good things that you want to increase in your life. Alhamdulillah, we're trying to get into this habit of praying in the night. We're trying to get into the habit of reading more Quran. We're trying to get in the habit of, so all of these things are part of the change process that you have to go through as well, and try to make that process happen in your life, and struggle to do that. When you look at the great examples of the people before, those who really struggled to learn. I mean, if I look at the messages of the messengers before, they had a mission. Their mission was to convey Islam. They worked hard. They had to keep on, and they changed not only how they dealt with things, but they changed the whole methods. They were trying different methods, trying just to attract people. And we look at the Prophet ﷺ, he did da'wah in so many ways. He gave da'wah to people. He tried to encourage people to give. He used to sometimes access people's generosity, not generosity, but people's greed, if you like. People wanted things, so he would give them. He would give them because he knew that would unlock a key inside them. Some of them wanted to see certain miracles happening in front of them, and although he wasn't quick to just respond to whoever asked, but sometimes he would do that. He would sometimes look at people's secret inclinations, if you like, and he would tap into that. So different aspects of how the Prophet, this is all about changing methods. You look at the Sahaba, you look at the righteous people, the scholars, you look at the scientists, you look at the people who the inventors, you look at every aspect. People who really achieve something in their life were people who are ready to go that extra mile because they needed to change. You cannot expect change to happen overnight. It does take time, and Ramadan gives you that impetus that you have to start here, and you have to work hard, and you have to work on yourself so that you can achieve. But unfortunately for us, what happens is we enter Ramadan, we are propagated, we have the enthusiasm, and we keep doing a lot of things, but we don't change our psyche, we don't change our attitude. So when Ramadan ends, we revert very quickly back to our old ways. So the challenge for you in this Ramadan, and now we're at the beginning, is how do I change my attitude, my mentality, so that after Ramadan I would have truly upgraded, and not that when Ramadan ends my whole system crashes and I just have to get a new phone or a new gadget or whatever, because that's what's going to happen. If you crash, then you're going to just revert back to the older system, which might not be working as well. So Ramadan is the time for change. Let's make that opportunity, inshallah ta'ala, and we can achieve that with the will of Allah.